Hey everyone, my name is Rosie and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought it'd be fun if we made a collage that was based on one color. So using all red images or using all purple images and see how that could work. So I have my hedgehog here that's full of pieces of paper that all have a different color on them. So I figure we'll just pick one at random and see what color we get and go from there. All right, oh, I picked a couple. Let's just put all those back. Okay, what did I get? Red. I did not plan this. I'm wearing a red shirt, which is kind of funny. Red, that is going to be the color for our collage today. So let's go find a bunch of red images. I have to pull out a few books that I think might have good red images in them. And you know, I've had this book for a couple months now, and I didn't think I was gonna want to use a collage book like this so much. But I will say I've been pulling it out left and right and I really love it. So we'll pull that one out today. And let's see, maybe I'll pull another collage book out here too, like this one, and see what's in there. What else do we want to do? I think flowers are kind of an easy way out, but maybe barbecue. Maybe there'll be some red meat. That's kind of weird too. I don't know. Maybe we'll look through my cutouts binder and see what's in there. Oh, butterflies and moths. That might be a good one. We'll pull that one out. That's probably good to start with. Let's just start flipping through some of these and see what red images catch our eye. Once I collected every red image that I could find, I started poking around to see what images might interact well, and I figured we should start by finding some sort of subject to sort of be the focal point of our collage. So I took this giant fish and thought, well, maybe this lady should be holding this giant fish. And I got the fish into her arms and said, well, yep, that's hilarious. We found our subject. It's perfect. So I put that off to the side. And now we have to find some other elements to add around our subject. I realized pretty early on, once I got all the images laid out, that I wasn't going to be able to create a scene like I normally do. Usually I find a background image and, integrate other images into the background. But this wasn't quite going to work with this one color challenge. I thought that the backgrounds, everything was going to blend too much together. So I wanted to just take a different approach. I wanted to find elements that I could add and layer around our subject. So I liked these two leaves and thought they might be a nice backdrop to put our lady on top of. And so I got those on the page, got the lady in there, and now I got to put this slippery fish back in there. And I thought these three elements together had a sort of nice balance, but we were missing some sort of grounding element, someplace for our lady to stand. So I saw these flowers on this branch and thought, that's a perfectly safe place for our lady to stand. And so I got that cut out and put that onto the page. And I love all the different scales that are happening here. It's, your brain is like, is the lady small, is that big as a flower, but it's also holding a giant fish. And I love all the different scales that are happening. So I feel really torn on whether or not I want to add to this piece. I was thinking of maybe trying to put this crab and have the car being held by the crab and then putting that somewhere in the piece. But overall, I'm trying really hard not to clutter this piece because I do think the composition right now as it is pretty beautiful. and it's just the right amount of red. I know that, you know, the brown twig and this woman's face aren't really red, but I think that they have enough red tones that the entire piece does still feel red. So I'm really liking how this is coming together. I know I have lots of other elements that I could add, but I think I want to stop and walk away from this because I like the way it is right now. And I think we have time to do one more color, make another piece with a whole other color. So let's go pick a new color. So I have my hedgehog here and I want to pick a new color. I did take the red out already, so we don't get that one again, but it's time to pick a new color. So let's see what we got. Blue. Okay, I'm fine with blue. All right, let's make a blue collage. Once I collected a good amount of blue images, I was thinking we should create a similar composition to the red collage. I wasn't intending these to be sort of a series, but we are making them in the same video on the same day. Might as well try to keep a similar look. So I was thinking about these images and I figured we need a subject like the lady. I was thinking we could use the robot as sort of our subject for the blue collage. But there were also a couple of images that I just really liked and wanted to try to incorporate into the collage just because I was such a big fan of them. This Goodwill sign being one of them. I just thought it was a really cool sign. And then also this blue mushroom. We all know how I feel about mushrooms, and the fact that I was able to find a blue one, like we had to use it. So I got those two images cut out. And I was thinking, because the lady is standing on flowers, why don't we try to get the robot to stand on the other plant element, which is the mushrooms in this collage, and so we can have that sort of relationship between the two collages. I like this idea of creating parallels between the two collages, and we also have to figure out something to put in the robot's hands. I first started with this car, and the perspective was just not right, and it looked very weird. And then I really wanted this phone to work because I loved how large it was. It's just so absurdly large. But even though I love very absurdly large things and playing with scale in my collages, this phone was just a touch too large, and it just didn't quite feel right to me because of just how large it was. So I swapped it out for this car that was sort of hiding behind one of these pages over here. But once I got the car in the robot's arms, I realized that was the perfect fit, and it somehow sort of worked perfectly in his arms, and I thought the scale was right, so I went with this car. And then I realized that putting the car up there made the balance of this collage all crazy. It's way too top heavy. If you look at this, it feels like the whole image is just gonna fall over. It's so top heavy, so I have to figure out a way and add some images to the bottom of the page to really bulk up and add some weight down there so this collage feels more balanced. It feels so lopsided right now. So I tried a few different things. I'm really trying to get that phone in there. I really loved this phone image, but I thought that maybe this planet was going to work, and I do like it, but then I realized the rings of the planet and the car were both creating the same diagonal, and they were parallel to each other, and it was creating this really, it was not complementing each other. They were fighting against each other in this weird way. While the weight of the planet was helping the balance, this two-lined parallel was not working for me. So I swapped that out for this fish, and I really liked this and thought the weight of the fish was the right size to balance out the top heaviness of the car. So that felt really good to me. At this point, I think we're about the same weight as the red collage, and I probably should stop here, but I had a couple other images, the planet and the phone, that I just really loved and wanted to try to fit into this collage so badly. But I ended up taking a little bit of a break from this collage and stepping away for a few hours. And when I came back with fresh eyes, I was realizing this collage was a little bit too chaotic. There was too much stuff going on. And you know how they always say, you know, before you leave the house, you should take off 2 accessories or something? I did that with my collage and realized that I should have stopped when I originally thought we were in a good place, because I just overdid it a little bit with those 2 elements. So I took them off. And now we are to the gluing portion. Normally I speed by the gluing section. I don't really love to talk about it because I personally hate gluing. It's my least favorite part of the collage process. But I did want to talk about something briefly here. So I'm trying to be more mindful about how I glue my images together. So I've been trying to incorporate this technique that I think someone left in my comments a while ago. And I think it's called something like the top-down technique. Basically, what you do is you start gluing the images together that are overlapping each other. So the robot is on top of the car. So I glued the portion of the robot that's touching the car image and glued those 2 pieces together. And then the sign and the mushroom and the fish are all sort of overlapping a little bit. So I glued the parts of the sign that were on top of the fish, glue those together, then glue the parts of the mushroom that were touching the sign and the fish and get those stuck together. And then once you have sort of all your elements glued together, you can then flip over all of your elements together, glue the entire back of them, and glue that to your paper. And so it's sort of, instead of gluing things directly to the paper, then trying to lift them up and tuck things under, you're sort of creating all the images together in one piece and then gluing that entire one piece to a piece of paper. You have to think about it a little bit more, I think, because there is sort of an order of operations you have to do. But I did want to talk really nitty-gritty about gluing today because I particularly tried to be very thoughtful with this glue and do that in a very specific way. So I figured I'd talk about it. I also would love to know in the comments, what is your least and most favorite part of the whole entire collage process? For me, my least favorite part is gluing, like I already mentioned, and my favorite part of the process is hunting for images. I love flipping through books and finding the perfect images and cutting them out, and I love hunting for images. But I would love to know what your favorite parts are. Do you love cutting the images out? Cutting out a really complicated image can be really meditative. It might take 20 minutes, but it can be really relaxing. Maybe that's your favorite part. Maybe you love gluing. Who knows? I don't, but maybe you do. I would love to know which part of the process is your favorite and which is your least favorite if you have a least favorite. Maybe you love the whole process. So I would love to know in the comments below if you could let me know those 2 things. I'm very interested to know. So anyway, we talked a lot about gluing. I will stop talking now and we'll glue up the red collage, then see these 2 and their final stages together. So here are our 2 one-color challenge collages. I hope that you all enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!